Hey, John. No, I'm just making stuff up because I play bass, and this is my acoustic bass. So, yay! It's an Ibanez, and its strap just came off. No, I just hey, Brian. I am in a I'm in a Christian band, and I play bass and sing and stuff, and I don't think I'm going to be doing any singing tonight, but I am happy to play, and now that people are showing up, don't have to do that. So welcome back, and fresh welcome to Brian and to Chad, and this has been great so far. I've been really pleased. Things have been going pretty smoothly. So I guess hey, Christy, I was hoping, oh, cool, John, we have things in common. Axemen, yes. So she says her husband plays electric bass too. So, oh, hey, Val, welcome to the fun. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into the questions. I was hoping that hopefully Jennifer will show up here in a second. She had a great question, which is what genre is Mindfire? And Mindfire, as far as I can see, is basically superhero thriller, superhero being a subcategory of fantasy, because powers, supernatural things, kind of all falls under the fantasy genre. But it's also a thriller, and there's a bit of mystery in it as well, because Mindfire is two stories in one, and they're both related. The main story focuses on Leia Hamilton, who, no, it is not a graphic novel. It is a regular, full-blown novel, fiction novel. So, Jarm asked the question if it was a graphic novel. Now, I have done comics, but I really, now that I'm doing all this writing, I don't really have time to draw much anymore, which is a mixed blessing because I do love doing art, but I just have, the Lord's really awakened a passion for me about writing. Those of you who already follow my Facebook know I'm always talking about writing or this, that, and the other, posting stuff. But I just love it. The inspiration is there. I would do it every day if I could, but I basically take the weekends off. Getting back to the story, though, Leia is a 20-year-old regular college student. She works at a pizza place as a manager, and has this pretty normal life, and then out of nowhere she gets these powers, and she has telekinesis, the ability to lift things with her mind and move them around and other things, and she also has pyrokinesis, the ability to set things on fire. And she has very little control over it at the beginning of the story, which makes it kind of dangerous. But it raises questions immediately. Why does she have powers? Did this just come out of nowhere? No, it did not just come out of nowhere. Her father used to be a superhero, and her mother is a supervillain. And one of the mysteries in the story is, who is Leia's mother? That it's just kind of mind-boggling, the aspects of it. Why would a child be born of such diametrically opposed people? as a superhero and a supervillain, and that does get answered within the story. Another thing that is kind of different about Mindfire is that her father and stepmother are Christians, and they actually stopped being superheroes to give their lives to Christ and lead a normal life to raise their daughter. And it really is interesting, but it also points out to the second story within the story, which is that there was a team of superheroes that her father helped to form, and then another member of that team was Black Fox. Everybody has everybody has their own story, but everything ties together is what I'm really trying to get at. And so the thing that Leia's trying to figure out is, what to do now, because she had her own plans. She wanted to get through college. She's got a boyfriend. She wants to get married someday and all that stuff. And these powers really, throw that off. And she needs answers. Hey, Jennifer. It's really interesting to see how she reacts to it, because basically Leia's not superhero material. It's not that she's like a loser or something, but she doesn't want to be a superhero. She just wants to be normal. And so having to cope with incredible powers, she needs answers that some of these answers only her father and stepmother can answer. And some of these questions only her biological mother could answer. But who is her biological mother? And that gets answered within the story. I don't want to give really any spoilers during this session. But I can tell you that Black Fox is one of the only ones who's still an active superhero in the present. And she's got a very interesting story, very interesting perspective. To me, she's kind of not to make a direct comparison, but she's kind of the female Batman of the story. But she's in the regard that she's got her own way of doing things. She's not full-blown vigilante, but she does have her own style of doing things. And she's a very strong-willed character. And so, like a lot of stories, there's a lot of different elements that don't seem to belong together at the beginning of the story, and then you kind of see how that they do. I can tell you that I had very specific things that I wanted to do in the cover, and I'm really pleased with the way that that Hannah carried it out. As you saw, there were correlations between the original artwork cover from 2016 and the cover that was just released tonight. The book itself, Mindfire, is going to come out on April the 19th, which is Good Friday. And I'm still kind of overwhelmed in a wonderful way about that, because I think that's a great day to release a book. April 19th is when it will be available as a print book, ebook, and audiobook. And it's super, super exciting. And now, one thing I do want to mention is that all of the characters in Mindfire originated from my comics that I wrote as a kid, starting at 10 years old. The Crusader hero, Leia's father, I created him in 1980. And I created Leia in 1981. Black Fox was created in 1985, and so on and so on. And so one of the blessings of this book is that it really gave me a way to honor and say goodbye to these characters. I don't have a specific sequel planned to Mindfire. It's possible, but I don't have one planned at the present. I will really look forward to feedback from people in reviews and comments and stuff like that once the book comes out. So, but it's if there never was a follow-up to Mindfire, I am satisfied with this book, and my hope is that you will be too. A lot of me went into this book. There's both, Easter eggs, there's pop culture references, there's all kinds of fun and very serious things in there. It deals with a lot of contemporary issues, everything from mental health to I guess you could say young adult issues. Young adult to me being basically 18 and older, not the, I guess, literature definition of young adult. And the choices we all make when we're young, which are almost always bad, but we learn from them if we survive them, and that's reflected in this. This is a generational book, and I'm really proud of that. There's basically 3 generations within this. We focus mostly on 2 of them, but there's really 3 generations in here. Hey, Robert. And it's really something, the way that it all ties together and kind of honors all of them. It kind of looks at things for heading towards middle age, and looks for and it shows some aspects of more senior age. It also has a lot of female perspective. That's something I am grateful to the Lord that I have always had insights into that. I grew up with a regular family, but I was more around my mother and my sister, and so I had more interests and insights that have really benefited me, both in writing comics and in writing these novels. Are there any superheroes which inspired you for Mindfire? That would be going back to the original comics. I'll be happy to answer that. Back in 1980, I had basically had inspiration from both Marvel and DC. Spider-Man, Avengers, Captain America. I also had a lot of influence from Batman, Superman. There really wasn't much Justice League stuff back then. I mean, but all of that. And I was a huge X-Men fan. Hey, Fuad. I was a huge X-Men fan back then. Because that was right before I entered my teens, and Angst was the name of the game. And so the actual superhero team name was influenced by the X-Men. This was the R-Men, the AR Men. I have come up with various explanations over the years for what that actually is supposed to mean, and it doesn't mean anything. So don't worry about that. It's just, that's their team name. That's what they came up with. But in terms of the style of the superhero team, that was original. It was all original heroes, all original villains. The supervillain that is Leia's mother originated in those comics back then. And all of these origins of these characters, they've had some modifications, name changes, updates for today, including technology from today, all that kind of fun stuff. But the essence of what they started out as is still there, and basically I see these characters as kind of extended family, because when you write something for 20 plus years, it becomes a part of you. And so it was a real blessing to be able to bring these characters to life in a novelized form. And the main story for Mindfire, actually I originally wrote it in 1985 as a comic, and then I modified it in 1996 after I became a Christian. And so that added another element to the story. And then I went ahead and brought it full circle when I started writing on it in 2013. Hey, Amy Anderson Hanner, welcome to the fun. And so it's really been amazing for me, and it's really been an honor that the Lord would take something from my childhood that meant a lot to me and find a way to wrap it into a story that could be hopefully meaningful to others. And one of the things I really want, there's two things that I wanted to accomplish with Mindfire. The first was to not be preachy. It is a Christian novel, and I don't pull any punches regarding that. However, I do believe that there's a way to express Christianity within a story, within characters, in a way that makes it part of the story, in a way that it's believable, that it doesn't feel forced. I wanted everything in this to just come across the way it is, and so that anybody could read this. Obviously, there's going to be people that, there's going to be groups of people that like it more. There's going to be people who don't. I don't know who they're going to be right now, and that's just fine. Jarm said, God redeems our life stories. That is the truth. I completely agree with that. But I wanted this to be a story that potentially anybody could enjoy. So I didn't set out writing it for one particular audience. I just took it as it came to me, and it went through 2.5 years worth of revisions, and then another couple of rounds of editing with my editor. Thank you, Daphne, for your patience and your way of making this whole process fun, and I really am grateful for that. Hey, Christine, this has really been a complete adventure for me, because I've gotten to do what I love, and I've gotten a chance to write a story that I believe can reach people, and I believe will praise my God and His Son Jesus Christ. And that is super important to me too. I think if we do something, I think we should be passionate about it. I think we should love it, and I think we should do what we believe. And I already know that you can't please everybody. There's going to be critics. Mindfire doesn't shy away from anything, so it may ruffle feathers. I don't know. Well, it will ruffle feathers. That's just kind of a given. But at the same time, this is a story that has no curse words in it. It has no overt sex in it. Everything in it happens purposefully. And another thing I've got to do before this video is over is I've got to thank my wife, Angel, because she played a part in this. She's always been my sounding board. She is my first editor before everybody else, and she took a look at this before everybody else. And I ended up doing several rounds of edits on my own, but she was a tremendous influence on this. And Angel helped me back when I was doing the actual paper comics that I eventually ended up scanning and putting onto the internet. They are not around anymore. Don't ask where they are. They just aren't. But if you read Mindfire, you will get a taste for what the R-Men were and what these characters are now. It's kind of like a fresh start for all of them, and I love that. I really hope that you enjoy Mindfire, and stay tuned to my Facebook. I will keep posting about it. Again, the release date is April the 19th this year. That is Good Friday, the Friday before Easter. I did not pick that date. That was Anna, and I'm very grateful for her. Anna is one of the higher-ups at Ambassador International, my publisher, and I'm very grateful for her. She's a great person, very helpful, and a great friend. And I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to shout out that within this less than a year's time, everyone at Ambassador International has become like family to me, and I've gotten so much support and encouragement from them, and I'm very grateful. Daphne asks, sequel to Mindfire. It's not impossible. I have ideas, but I think we're going to wait, and we're going to see what happens and what response is, and how the spirit moves. So, good question. Thank you, Jennifer. You're welcome. I appreciate it. And yeah, I just, having been, someone once told me not too long ago that the moment that I created a comic book, I was technically an author. That was a little hard to wrap my brain around, but it is true in the basic sense of being an author. Hey, Wendy, that is true. And so technically speaking, I suppose I've been some kind of author since I was 10. But being a published author is a completely different thing. In 2016, I got to experience being self-published, but I am very grateful that I got the opportunity in 2018 to get a contract for traditional publishing from Ambassador International. And I keep reminding myself that no matter how things go, everything's going to be changing very soon, and I have very little way of knowing which direction that's going to go. But I am an optimist, so I tend to think that things are going to go up from here. And so again, I want to go ahead and thank everybody for coming on here and being a part of this, watching this, hanging out with me, and I will keep you updated on Mindfire. One last thing I will add in, I do have a website that you are welcome to check out. It has more information. It actually has some free writings from me, and that is my new domain website, alanstedham.com. So you can go there, alanstedham.com, under the blog section. I have a couple of short stories and some excerpts, including an excerpt from Mindfire, on there for you to read. And I have other, I guess you could say, kind of devotional-like posts and things like that in the blog section going back to March of last year. So you're welcome to check that out. I put in things, now and then. I will add in the cover now to the website and the books section of the website. And once Mindfire is out there after Good Friday, this summer you can look forward to Jordan's World, which is my first Christian Science fantasy novel, the first of a trilogy. And we'll have separate live videos about that, I'm sure. Again, thanks to everybody for stopping by and participating and just hanging out. And you have a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you later. Bye.